Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thrive in Life. I'm your host, Zaheen Nanji, and this show is about helping you embrace change and bounce back so you can make resilience your first reflex. Today is episode number 24, and we are going to talk about thriving in relationships. I mean, who doesn't need advice on that, right? And I have a great guest who is going to talk about this. We met this year and we hit it off, and I'm so glad that she agreed to be on the show, and I know that she's happy to be on the show. So what I'm going to do first is I just want to go back and let you know that we've done 23 other episodes, and you can catch those at zaheennanji.com and click on Thrive in Life on the tab Thrive in Life, and you'll see all the shows there. Because what will happen is that when you start to watch those shows, you'll start learning. And when you learn something, you always want to say to yourself, that is such a good reminder. I should do that. Or that was such good advice. Or that was such a good story. And it inspires you. So why not start at zaheennanji.com and go to Thrive in Life and start watching those shows. In fact, make it a binge. Okay. So we are going to introduce Monique, and let me read her bio to you. So Monique Caissie calls herself a strategist for recovering doormats. Like her, you may have experienced times in your life where you wish you felt more heard and respected. Monique used to identify with those feelings 24/7 and set out to change that. Having worked in crisis intervention for 30 years, she now teaches others the secrets to asking for what you want, to increase your resilience and thrive professionally and at home, even if they drive you crazy. Now, you want to stay for the whole episode, of course, because at the end and even during the episode, she's going to give you a script. And it's 4 things that you will learn in the script. So make sure you do that. Okay, Monique, come on up and say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me, Zaheen. I just am so thrilled to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy that you agreed to be here. Now, just so you all know that we also have the recording on YouTube. We do the recording through Zoom, as well as it will be on iTunes. And so I ask you a favor. If you like what you heard, make sure you go and review it on iTunes, because the more of you that do that, the more that this episode can get into other people's hands, and the more they can thrive. So, Monique, in your bio, I was intrigued by the word doormat. Explain to the viewers and listeners, what does that mean?
A doormat, another word that some people use, is a people pleaser. A doormat is someone who has a hard time saying no. They feel guilty when they say no. They tend to say yes to everything. They have difficulty with boundaries, and they just even have a hard time expressing what it is that they want. So I grew up in a culture and at a time where girls were meant to be seen and not heard. And because of that, I ended up growing up really having a hard time knowing that I even had the right to ask for what I want. So I was a doormat. I used to say, I'm like walking with a little sign on my forehead that says, I'm a victim, go ahead, beat me up, it's okay. So it's like I just had no way of stopping people because I didn't know I had that right. So I had to learn it. And that's why I'm a recovering doormat.
Doormat, yeah. I like how you mentioned that, that we just go with this label here. And we laughed about it, but really it's not a laughing matter, because I know that there's so many people out there that feel stuck in that kind of situation, and it's hard, isn't it?
It's really difficult, and my background is in crisis intervention. I started off my career working in crisis in women's shelters, so I saw firsthand the results of women who didn't know how to say no, who didn't know how to demand what they deserved and needed in their lives to feel safe and loved and respected. So it is a difficult thing, and it's ubiquitous. no matter where we look, we're going to see this problem. And not just in women, men as well have a hard time, they become people pleasers too. It really depends on how we were raised and a little bit of our personality. And you will rarely meet a doormat that doesn't suffer from some kind of anxiety. So it is very it's very much in link with our mental wellness as well. And so we need to develop our resilience. We need to learn how to ask for what we want so that we don't end up suffering from anxiety, or if we do have a predisposition to it, we can take care of ourselves so we don't go there.
So then how did you go from being a doormat to where you are now? When did the change occur for you?
For me, I think it was in 1989, I think it was, where I walked into a 12-step group for, we've all heard of Al-Anon and we've all heard of AA. Well, there was another one called ACOA, which is Adult Children of Alcoholics, or Adult Children Anonymous. And it's where we find out how to be a person. And we have a 12 steps, just like AA, and that's where I started my journey. So it was a long time ago. And at the same time, I was also working in that women's shelter. So the two kind of melded together. I saw the importance of understanding this and bringing it to the people I was helping, because I needed it, but so did they. And it became a passion of mine to pursue that.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, when we talked before the show, you had mentioned about how you were helping some people, and specifically a lady who was going through a bad time with her husband. I guess he was also, violent. I can't really recall, but I'm sure you will tell us. Tell me what happened there. And she asked you for something and it worked, and she comes back to you after and says, "Oh my God, like this worked." So tell us that story.
So this lady I'm working at the time in mental health. And I basically, my job was to support family members who had someone who was suffering from a mental illness. And a lot of them it was pretty serious ones. So her husband had, I believe it was bipolar disorder or something, but he had tendency to be very violent when he got upset. And they had two older boys, like I think one was 19, the other one was 22, something like that. And they both were on the autism spectrum, and they had Tourette's syndrome. And we had like a whole bunch of things. And so she came to see me because she wanted to stay with her husband. She felt it was really important that the family unit stay together, despite this, there were so many problems. And of course, the biggest challenge was, how do I have a conversation with this man without him exploding? Because things could escalate pretty quickly. So what I did is I was talking to her about this script that I had been using myself, and I taught it in courses and stuff. But of course, I wasn't teaching a course, and I thought, I didn't have course material to give her. So I just take a business card, and on the back of my business card, we practice it, and I write the 4 steps, and we rehearse it. So I give her this on the back of my business card. Now she comes back a week later, and she says, "I think you saved my marriage." Oh. I said, "How did I do that?" And she says, "Well, I asked my husband for something, and he started to get really mad." And she said, "I pulled out the card." She said, "Hold that thought. We're going to do this instead." And she pulled out the card, and he sat down, and he got curious. And she said, "Okay, this is how I'm going to say it, and then you're going to say it the same way." And she taught him my script from the back of my business card. And they had the first real conversation since forever. Wow. And it didn't end up escalating, and there was no violence. And at the end, they ended up having a real dialogue. And we worked on it some more. We had to, it had to be refined. It's not a quick fix, but she couldn't believe how different it felt to just do these steps. And I actually would walk around with a business card size thing that I would give to my clients, as a reward for taking my course. By the way, you can take this home, because it was so easy. It fits on a business card, and it changes people's lives. So it was very exciting. So when I left crisis intervention and I started thinking, what do I want to teach? And I went, well, I'm definitely teaching this one. So that was kind of a no-brainer. I had to teach people this 4-step system.
Oh, and it's so simple because I know you told me. So let's go through them quickly so that we can get this out to the viewers and listeners. So let's start with the first one.
Okay, so we have to remember the acronym RISE, R-I-S-E. So we start with that. The first one, the R, stands for review their behavior. So when we're reviewing another person's behavior, we're using an action verb. And we're starting the sentence with when you do this. Not when you are this, like when you are a jerk doesn't count. It's got to be when you do this particular action. Then the second one is the I. And the I stands for identifying my feelings. And we're using I language. So we're saying I feel. And it starts with I feel. And we don't go with I feel like a litany of things here. We say one or two feelings. I feel dismissed. I feel disrespected. I feel hurt. So we talk about I feelings and we use one or two. Then we go into the S. And the S is the one that people always seem to miss, or they do too much of and don't do the other two. The S is for specifying the desired behavior. So I just told you what upsets me. I also need to tell you what it is I need from you to feel good about our relationship, or what it is I want from you, what I'm looking from you. So it's a very specific thing, and it's, again, not a litany of things. It's I need this to replace that behavior. It's a simple thing. It's let's switch this out and the world will be well. Mm-hmm. Then the fourth one, the E, stands for exploring the consequences. And that there's actually two types of consequences. There's a positive consequence, or we can call it the pleasure promise, if you will, like the benefits of doing what I'm asking you to do. Or the pain promise. The negative one would be like the pain promise. If you don't do it, this is going to happen. Now, we all think of consequences as the negative, but it can be a positive one too. And so I'm asking people to please start with the positive one. If you do this, I will feel better about our relationship, or I will feel more respected. It's that simple. And we don't go into the pain right away. We really try to get them motivated with the good stuff, with this will make me feel good. Isn't that what you would want? And hopefully that will be enough to influence them to change their behaviors.
Okay. So just to recap then for the listeners and the viewers, hopefully they can see that.
Look at you. You're so cute.
So for those of you listening on the podcast, I know you can't see it, but we are going to say it for you. So R is for review behavior or action, right? I is to identify the feeling. And then S is to specify the desired behavior. And E is to explore the consequences, negative or positive. So then let me ask you this, before we go into an example, is this only for adults, or can even a 3-year-old work through this?
This is like such basic, communication 101 that you can start it as soon as they start having words. Let's say your 2-year-old bites you in the hand. It's so easy to say, when you bite mommy in the hand,
That's
I feel...
R. That's your R?
That's the R. Review that when you bite me in the hand, it hurts my hand and it hurts my heart. Mm-hmm. Children understand that at a very young age, it makes me sad. Makes me feel sad. Then we specify the behavior. I want you to use your words, not your teeth.
Okay, so that's the S part.
That's the S. I want you to use your words, not your teeth. There's your S. And then when we start exploring the consequences, at a 2-year-old, you don't have to explore too much. I would just say it would make mommy feel better if you didn't bite me. Like keeping it as simple as possible, but the 4 can still be in there. And I just want to really highlight that we don't need to start with all 4. If at first this can feel very overwhelming to remember all 4, and when we're kind of upset, it's hard to remember all 4. I would really encourage people to do the first 3, and we can say, I feel this when you do that. We can do, put them in reverse, and then say, this is what I need. So the first 3 are the crux of it, and then the 4th one is like the thing that lights a fire under their butt. Wow. It's the motivator.
Yeah, that's a great example, by the way, about the biting and how you went through each one. That's great. Now, can I share with you an example?
Yeah, you said you would bring one, so I'm looking forward to playing with it. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So I know someone
Okay.
who is having a hard time at home with her husband and with her grown children. And by grown, I mean like in their young adult, right? So 18,
So like
20.
18, 19, 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So she does everything in the home, and no one helps her out. And she comes to me and she says, and then she cries, saying that she feels stuck and she doesn't know what to do anymore. She has said to them, I need help, but nothing happens. They just say no to her, or they walk out and she ends up doing it. So what would you tell her?
Okay, now I get this one so often. Like the teenager and the husband who aren't really committed to, like, they're not engaged, right? They're kind of like, and the thing is that they come to rely on the fact that she will simply complain and do nothing. And so that, unfortunately, is what we tend to do, right? When we're people pleasers. I just want to say that she has to do something for it to change, and there will be pushback. There always is, because they're going to check to see if this is for real. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first thing she has to do is she has to start by evaluating the explore the consequences bit. Mm-hmm. What can she offer them in terms of consequences? Okay. And I'm talking more about the negative one. And the reason I'm starting with that is that's not the first thing she's going to talk about. I just want her to decide this before she has the conversation. So she needs to decide what the negative consequence will be. And there has to be two things to this negative consequence. One, she needs to have the power to do it. And two, she has to absolutely be determined to do it. Because it's not the severity, it's the certainty. So we can't ever say we're going to do it and then not do it. So no, we can, and know that we will. Yeah. And then once she decides, okay, that's how far I'm willing to go with this, now she can start saying the script. And all these scripts only take a minute, right? Mm-hmm. Or 2 at max, even if we're upset. So the first thing she's going to do is, who do you want to talk to first? Her husband?
Sure, let's
do one-on-one. Okay, so we're going to do the husband first. So she has to say to the husband, let's call him James. Mm-hmm. James, when you ignore me, when I'm telling you how upset I am about this, mm-hmm. I feel really hurt and dismissed. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you ignore me and don't, just walk away, or whatever action he's doing,
so that's
I feel hurt and dismissed. So the first one was review the behavior. He's ignoring me. I feel hurt and dismissed. And the third one is specifying the behavior. Right. And I need you, James, to step up to the plate and help me show these kids how to be a part of this family. We need to be a model, a team together.
Okay.
Right? Then she has to go into her exploring the consequences. So the first one is, if you do this, if you get on board with me about getting the kids to help more, about modeling this, I'll just feel like closer to you. I'll think you're sexier. Whatever she wants to say, whatever would happen to that. Like, oh my God, I feel so loved by you. So there's the positive. Now the negative would be, if you don't, I'm going to question how committed you are to me.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm really starting to question that. So that's going to put him on the defensive, possibly. We have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Right. And we need to be specific about what we want. So if her thing with James is that she wants him to tell the children to do their chores, if she wants him to do the groceries, whatever it is, she has to tell him, I need your help with these things. But I would start with one thing, and that is how we are parenting these children. Because it's a whole unit thing, right?
Yes.
So get him on board first. So start with James. Now we got 2 kids to talk to. So now we're going to have a family meeting.
Yes.
James is on board, and we've had a conversation about what these children need to do. And we've also identified what James is going to do from now on. We've had these conversations apart from the kids. We don't have them together. Then we sit the kids, and James is, we're going to do this, and he's going to be like, different. And they're going to be surprised because right now, James is doing nothing. So why do the kids have to do nothing? Anything, right? She has to explain to him that when you model this behavior for the kids, they disrespect me.
Yeah.
It really comes down to that. And what is the negative effect of this? That's what the consequences are. There's a negative effect. I feel unloved. I'm questioning your commitment to me. I'm questioning your love for me. These are all real things that are happening. She doesn't have to say, I'm ready to leave. I've packed my bags and my mother's waiting. But she does need to say these are the consequences.
Yeah. So, what if she just did, say the first 3 and she forgot to do the 4th one? But what you're saying is when she's thinking about it, she has to start with the 4th one and then start at 1 and then go 2, 3, 4 again.
I want her to really think about the 4th one before she goes into the conversation. Okay. And so that she doesn't overreact, so that she is holding on to those 2 rules, which is I have the power. If there's a negative consequence, I have the power to do it, and I have the willingness to follow through. In this case, it's really about helping him explore the consequences. And in this case, it's the emotional consequences. And it's saying, I'm starting to worry about our marriage. It's a wake-up call. Mm-hmm. And that is a negative consequence if someone starts saying this type of thing. Now, if she has been nagging and nobody listens to her, she has to remember, even if that isn't the case, this is done very calmly, mm-hmm. and very, very strategically, like in a coffee shop, away from home. Okay. In front of food is always good. They like food. And not accusatory, and then at the end say, what do you need from me so that I can help you give me what I need?
Yes.
What is it that I'm not giving you? And we have to turn it around and give them an opportunity to say, well, I'm tired and I don't think of it and I don't mean anything by it, and give them an opportunity mm-hmm. to defend themselves and not feel like, we're not scolding them. We're trying to open up a dialogue. We are giving them the data they need to have this relationship so we can be close to one another. And we want to know what they need too, because it really is about building the whole relationship.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a good way of just starting out. And if she finds that he'll just say, or I just don't want to do it, so take it or leave it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When is the point where you go, okay, you know what, this is something more than just the 4-step system?
Yeah, this is the challenge. Women stay because they're afraid of what they'll lose. Yeah. They really have some extra work to do there. And when women are at that point, I really encourage them to go and seek some help. It can be a life coach. It could be a therapist. It could be a psychologist, whatever they feel comfortable. It could be their pastor at church. There's a lot of people who are willing to just sit there and help them evaluate. I really also encourage people to read. There's one particular book I read with my husband that I just loved, and it's called The 5 Languages of Love, or The 5 Love Languages. It's a Gary Chapman?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I would encourage her to read that and to ask him to read it with her, so that they can help. They can just understand where they're coming from. Because before they even talk to the kids, they really have to be on the same page. Exactly. And they really have to redevelop their own relationship. And you know what? The kids, well, they'll just wonder what the heck's going on, because suddenly they're not being nagged at. They're like their parents are talking to each other. And this is really a good model for the kids, is to learn how to talk to each other anyway. So wherever this goes, and depending on what she wants to do, if she doesn't want to go that route, she can simply say, I understand that you're too tired to help me. I've decided I'm going to hire a housekeeper because I'm tired too, and you're going to foot the bill.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one.
It's just simple. Like you guys don't have to do anything. I checked. These are the prices. You pay this much per week. You pay this much per week. You pay this much per week. And then we won't ever have to have this conversation again.
So negative consequences.
Well, we just go straight to listen, I've tried to have like conversations and just being ignored, so I'm just going to bill you.
Yeah, exactly.
and that's it. And I'm going to get someone else to do it. So when I come home to a beautiful place that I think I deserve, and that's it. And so it can be that simple. So one is to really work on the relationship. The other one is to just say, okay, screw it, we're just going to do it. I'm just hiring somebody, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to decide what's really important and how much energy does she want to put into all of this as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, Monique, thank you so much. And can you believe that we're almost at the end of time here?
Insane. It goes so fast.
But
I don't remember if I said everything, because it's so much. Yeah.
No, I love the example that you gave for a 3-year-old. And I like this example that you gave for, someone who is married, who has children and feels like she has no way out. So this is where I find a lot of women who are recovering doormats, or in that process. I mean, they are, I think you are recovered for sure. I don't know why.
You never recover fully. It's so easy to fall back into it. And I just, before I forget, on my website, I have like this 4-step cheat sheet. I have it as a download, like you can click in and get access to it. It's really easy, and I give like a breakdown of everything. So I do encourage people to sign up for my blog and to get this cheat sheet. And I try and write on these types of topics all the time about improving relationships and dealing with difficult people in our lives.
So your website is moniquecaissie.com. There we go. And she is showing it to the people who are watching, and I will spell it out. It's MONIQUE for Monique, CAISSIE, Caissie.com. So it's all one word, .com. Okay, so make sure you go there and you download her 4-step system, which is called RISE. That's RISE.
It's just called how to ask for what you want.
How to ask for what you want. There you go.
Yeah.
And do me a favor, will you? Because this is about thriving in life. If you listen to all this, but yet you don't practice, then what's the point? And I strongly believe that when you get a nugget, go and practice it, implement it, then only you'll be able to thrive and cope. Otherwise, what's the point? So do me a favor and go ask for what you want today. And when you do that, let me and Monique know.
Oh, yes.
How did you do? And you can go on my website and put it in the comment section under the show notes, which is going to be at zaheennanji.com, which is right there, zaheennanji.com, and go to Thrive in Life. Or you can also like us on Twitter. Actually, follow us on Twitter. You like us on Facebook page. We're there as well. So Zaheen, Nanji, Monique's there as well. So make sure you do that and tell us what it was all about. We'd love to know. And until then, episode number 25 is going to be all about how to not procrastinate and 7 strategies to beat it. I will see you until next time. Take care. Thank you, Monique.
Thank you.